Well, hello, this is Jeff Gaudiosi, and you're on misplacedstraws.com where music comes to life. And my guest today is just a stone cold legend. He's probably best known as the definitive voice of metal icons Anthrax, but he's also done quite a few solo projects over the years. One of those projects is a cool band called Beyond Frontiers that plays the music of Journey. Please welcome one of my all-time favorites, Mr. Joey Belladonna. Welcome, Joey.
Oh, good afternoon. How are you today?
Thanks for having
me.
Thanks for coming on. And there's so much to talk to you about, but let's start with Beyond Frontiers because it's something a little different and fun. Those that just know you from Anthrax and the thrash community probably kind of surprised to hear you do a band that plays Journey songs. How did that come about?
Well, I've always liked the band long before I even had Steve Perry. I love the whole vibe, the whole music, the writing, and Neil's playing, and just the whole thing. I loved everybody in that band. And then Steve came along, and I was like a total Journey fan for forever. You know, I've been following it right up till today, you know. Yeah. So I always wanted to put a band together, or at least I have been doing Journey songs throughout the years, and you know, array of cover bands that I've had, but not a whole night. Yeah. So I just wanted to take on more music by Journey. So I thought it'd be great to just have a band that was awesome, that wanted to play that kind of music. So.
And you need some great musicians to pull that kind of stuff off. Who's in the band with you?
Well, I have, I don't know if you're familiar, I'm sure you are, but Lee Greenwood, I guess you want to call him country?
Yeah, the country singer. Yeah.
Oh, music. I have the band leader, Doug Carter, I met on a cruise, and we decided to, you know, I asked him if he would, you know, be willing to put a Journey band together, and he was all for it because we did an actually unplugged show on the boat, and it went great. It was just us and two keyboards and me singing, and it was just
that's cool. Yeah.
A full like 45, 50 minute set of just unplugged Journey. The whole boat was there, and they enjoyed it. But then when I got done, I said, "You want to do a full band?" He goes, "I can put a band together in no time. I have the band already." And we've been playing together for a while, and it's been that since then. But we only did one show because of COVID and stuff. So we just kind of put it on a hiatus, you know.
Well, and that's the thing. You guys played Virginia. I mean, literally it was a day or two before everything shut down. I mean, do you have any plans now that we're starting to see things slowly open up to just do a couple of shows?
Yeah, we're actually gonna gear up and put it together for real, because that show we did, I didn't even know what some of them guys even looked like. You know, in a way, because I mean, I just haven't had any time to play with them or anything. Yeah. We showed up, I picked them up at the airport, and we all drove together. You know, of course I knew Doug, the keyboard player, and at that point, once we started playing together, it was like, it was awesome to play the night. But, you know, a bit of rehearsal would be really kind of a happy thing for us. So that's what we're going to do, is start rehearsing a little bit and get it up to snuff, maybe put some, you know, videos together, some clips, so people can see a little bit of what we're about, you know. There's really no frills there either. There's not a thing where like I'm gonna try and dress up like Steve Perry or anything. I want it to be a band that just kicks butt and some good music. And my wife, you know, she's helping me take care of the whole thing, and she's a part of it too, because she does all the work. So I can't take credit for that. I always have to remember that. And sometimes it's just people don't realize what work it takes to put things together. You know, there's a lot of preparation. Right now, we're still working on maybe get some people to videotape it. Also record some stuff too. I don't know if I'll release anything in particular, but maybe have music that's at least online, so you can at least get a sound and a connection to the band. Because we don't have anything right now. It's pretty dormant in a way.
And again, I mean, while the casual Anthrax fan may be surprised, but just the fact is, throughout your career, you guys have always done a ton of covers, and most of them in like the classic rock vein. I mean, on the Anthems record, you did Keep on Running from Journey and stuff from Boston and Cheap Trick. And We all know how big an influence Kiss was on Anthrax, but was it all these classic rock bands that really got you into that kind of music?
Yeah, I've been following all that stuff from the Beatles to start,
Mm.
and I jumped right into anything from Crosby, Stills and Nash in Chicago, and then I started leaping over to Aerosmith and the Who, and then it would be Queen and Rush, and then Yes and Kansas, and all that stuff. So I'm in that whole
Yeah.
plugged into that system, and I'm leaving like 30 or 40 bands out of who I dearly loved and still do. But at the same time, I just love that kind of melodic rock.
Yeah.
I like that. And unfortunately, sometimes if being in a thrash band is it you can't cross that road. Vocally, it's a vocal thing, and it's a music style that I like. And I know the band does like too. Anthrax, they follow stuff that I probably wouldn't have followed. Like some guys might have liked Depeche Mode or I don't know. There's just a whole lot of stuff. The Cure or something like that. I never really some of those lanes are my expertise, should I say.
And now, although you came in the band in '84, 2021 actually marks the 40th anniversary of Anthrax. I mean, is that a milestone that resonates with you guys? Like, if not for the pandemic, would you be out on the road celebrating that anniversary?
Oh yeah, I believe we would have geared that, on high gear. It really would have been a cool moment. I mean, the only thing we really had a chance to do to celebrate that, other than these shows that we're doing, we did a live stream, and that was successful. And hopefully you'll get to see that if you hadn't got to see it, maybe on a Blu-ray.
That'd be great.
Great package with all some great backstory footage, all that good stuff.
And just kind of taking a look back through your career with the band, when you came in, were you familiar with Fistful of Metal? Because I mean, that whole style of thrash was pretty new to the East Coast at the time Anthrax was starting. So were you familiar with it at all when you first got into the band?
No, I've never even heard of that. I mean, let's say Priest might have been a cross to, not comparing any of it, but that style of rock. But obviously they had some power metal there. There was some good double bass, and it was fast. But not that whole record wasn't. But I had no idea who they were or what that album. I didn't even know that album existed. So I had no clue who I was going to meet or see.
And your first three full records with the band, Spraying the Disease, Among the Living, and State of Euphoria. I mean, you really saw Anthrax grow from this underground club band in New York to playing arenas and touring with Ozzy and things like that. And not only, I think, was it the birth of thrash, but as everyone knows, you guys also started the whole rap and metal mix with I'm the Man and things like that. Was it something that you all were into, or was it somebody in the band that said, hey guys, let's give this a try?
I know that Charlie, Scott, and Frankie living in the city, and even Danny Spitz too, when he was in the band guitar. I think me and him were maybe the least of the rap side of it. There was nothing. It wasn't like we didn't like it. I wasn't following it as much as like some of the guys were, and that was something that everybody felt that they wanted to take on and collaborate together. In which, that's what we did, and we put a nice, package together like that, and made people feel good about some good guitar and drums and stuff, some extra singing going on, and it's just that whole collaboration. It was really cool, but not as much on my end. I mean, I love it even more now that I get it and I understand it. But at the time, I was a little unfamiliar with a lot of it. I wasn't listening to it as much.
Well, it's weird because, as you said, you guys made it feel natural with the guitars and with the singing and with the drums. And speaking for myself, I was in high school at that time, and the crowd that listened to the thrash stuff, that listened to you guys and Overkill and Exodus, also listened to NWA and Public Enemy and Ice-T. And way back then, there was a kinship between sort of the harder edged fringes of both styles of music that you just don't see today anymore. And I think you guys really, symbolize that.
Yeah, I think that was a good thing because I mean, and it really had I guess a great connection to get into that whole world and make it something that people could really get into, and be real and be authentic about it,
And then with Persistence of Time, the band evolved its style yet again. It was a little more serious, some technical progressive elements mixed in. Again, the big cover with Joe Jackson's Got the Time. Was that record, was it a reaction to sort of the change that you saw coming in music, or away from sort of the party elements of the 80s to the more seriousness of the 90s, or was it just a natural evolution of where the band was going?
Yeah, I think a lot of that's just a natural, like you get in to start writing. I mean, we're really take our time on making a good record and something that it works riff wise and all the parts fit. Obviously our stuff is not that straight ahead, easy, 4/4. And I mean, sometimes I wouldn't even come in for minutes, singing. So there really wasn't any kind of script for us. And we obviously, that record was decent, it was great. It was an awesome record. There's a lot of good pieces on there, and I don't know, just the elevation or evolving and the way we were is just that's the cool thing about us. You're always going to get something a little different, but we didn't really kind of go off in a la la land and lose everybody. That's just my take on it. I felt pretty comfortable. I think we were just starting to get a groove at that point. Even though we had great records beforehand, but you really start to feel good about what you're writing.
Well, I think, speaking for myself as a fan, looking back on that period of Anthrax, that 4-record set, even though Among the Living, I think, is the cornerstone, the classic in the genre, for me, I think Persistence of Time was always my favorite Anthrax record of that period. And I think it's the one that really speaks the most who you guys were at the time.
Yeah. There's a whole a conglomerate of style that from starting to that point, all that mixed in. That's what I say. You really have it takes time to really develop. And God, you could write 30, 40 songs and find that you only really had great 6 to 10, and some find their way into people's playlists. At times, we can never predict. I mean, I think when I do a record myself and I start singing, I have a pretty good idea what songs are going to be really strong. As soon as I start singing them, I go, I got something here. Yeah. This is a real good key. This has got a great setup for me to sing. There's a little bit of room or there's some room for melodic pieces to fit in, because I love layers. I'll put stuff into these songs. Even now, especially now, God, I mean, I could go into things that I can never have done back in the day. I love that. I mean, immediately.
And, you left the band for a little while and, kind of came back a couple of times, but came back for good around 2010 with the big 4 shows with yourself, Metallica, Megadeth, and Slayer. And since then, I mean, the output hasn't been huge, but it's been amazing. Worship Music and For All Kings are just fantastic Anthrax record. Any chance you guys are working on new music? Will we be seeing anything coming up in the future?
Thanks for that. For the last 2 records, yeah, I'm pretty proud of those too myself. There's a lot of work involved there, and it's just, and at the same time, it's a real natural transition to get right back in. It was like I never left. If anything, it was better. There was a lot of things happening as I did them, and there was quick process, with the good ideas right away, and continuing on to something new for sure. I mean, there's ideas there. It's just a matter of time and the process of actually pulling those days of, when you finalize these pieces and you go, you know what, I'm good with this. You get that green light and go, we're done with this. Once you get to whatever 6 to 10 or 12 songs, and you go, all right, let's go in and start tracking. So you got to get to that point, So that's the thing. There's a little bit of time involved to get to that point.
And what's the creative process like in the band now? Do all you guys sort of write separately and then come together to see what works and what doesn't? Do you break off into groups and write together? How have you guys worked over the past few years?
There's all the above. There's definitely people bringing ideas together for sure, and then there's also just a matter of getting together in a room. There's that vibe of when you turn it up and you play along with each other, and because it's something about sending ideas, but when you do get in a room, things start to happen. A lot of ideas start to come about. I mean, for me, when I'm in a room, I'll come up with stuff immediately and have ideas. And even if they sent me stuff, I still have ideas all throughout it, but I never stick to them until I go into the studio, because once I go in the studio, I have all kinds of ideas, and there's a lot of room for me to just take on all these ideas and then start feeling real good about it, because you start get the groove. Because a lot of times I don't even really go in and do any pre-production. I'll come later, and it's just been working great like that, even though I'm sure I could have more ideas along the way. But as far as in the studio, it's fun there, although things are kind of buttoned up in some ways, so you have to work around that. It's like you got a certain paved road, you got to stay within those lines, sort of. So that's some of the drawbacks. I can't say that they're a full drawback, but those things tend to limit you in a little ways, whether it be or the words or whatever that may be. But I make it work. I mean, I give me anything. I find a way to sing something on every record. And that's to me, that's the magic of what I feel, what I do for the band, because you can't really teach that. You can't show someone that. You have to achieve it. You have to be able to do it and feel good about it. So that's the fun part of it for me. It's just say, like, I'll take anything on. I may say, geez, I mean, if we only could have, or we should have, that kind of stuff all day. But I don't. I'll hum and haw a little bit, because it's a bit difficult. You have to squeeze it all in with the speed a lot of times, and it's so. I hope we're not boring you with that, but there's a lot. There's a lot of stuff.
I see. I love that creative process of learning how bands do it. So that's what I love to hear in something like this.
It's definitely a frenzy of a pattern for me, because I love just the old days, just jamming and then singing over something like, man, I think I got something right now. This is good, and then you sit with it for like 8, 10, whatever, how many days, and you go, you know what? I don't know. I think I got something here. This sounds good enough to me. I'm good. I mean, because you can just nickel and dime something all day long.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just never know. And what you thought was good maybe isn't as good for someone else, or what you didn't think was good is awesome to someone else. So it's a really, really crapshoot sometimes too. But I think we have a feeling on what we like and what's going to be the bigger too. It's at least by the time we're done, we have a good idea.
And the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Metallica is the token metal band that's in there, and they have to be because of the amazing crossover success that they're still enjoying. But do you or anyone else in the band ever give a second thought to the place that Anthrax should have in an institution like that? Does it mean anything to you guys?
I've never had a discussion with anybody about it. I don't think anybody's even been. I mean, maybe on their own time they might have talked to someone or they had a discussion. I've never had any. I mean, once in a while I might have said to somebody, "Yeah, I wonder if we'll ever, you wonder if you ever even, by the time your time is up, are you going to get it?" And at the same time, what is the Hall of Fame now? Sometimes I don't know. Like when they pick stuff, sometimes you got, you can have 4 tops in there with a R&B band. There's all kinds of different genres that go in. So it's like, who's next? And there's a lot of bands that we both can name that should be, they're not, and we're not. Like, who is more worthy of it? Like, that kind of stuff. I hate even thinking about that stuff. I mean, hell, Rush just got in there not too long.
It took them way too long. Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't even want to like put myself in that position to even compare anything. I mean, I don't know how they pick. I love to sit around and listen to the round table, how they figure out who should be and what time is their time or whatever. I mean, we've done some cool stuff. I mean, if we were to get in by any chance, I think there's a nice story there. There's some cool stuff to
Well, I definitely think that there's should be a place in that institution for Anthrax, without a doubt.
Okay.
Yeah. I gotta say, one question that I always see pop up everywhere is Dan Spitz, your former guitar player, who's sort of disappeared from the music business, pops up every now and then. Do you ever talk to Dan? Any idea what he's up to these days?
I have way back before I got back in the band.
Yeah. Mm.
We talked, but at that point he just kind of vanished and
Yeah.
took out another. I mean, I know he was working through the watch company doing, he's quite skillful for like actually making a watch, like carrying it or making, like building an actual watch. So I give him all the credit and the time and effort to go through school like that. But really, I have musically nothing. I don't know. I have no idea. And of course, Anthrax. We've had great guitar players along the way that just came in.
Yeah.
John Donay is awesome. Rob Caggiano was killed. I mean, we have no shortage of guitar that have come in. So, but me and Dan and the band, we had a great run together. That's for sure. And I'm glad that we have a pretty good full core of the same lineup, which I think is neat. When we go out nowadays, people get to see the band. There's so many younger people come out and they go, "Wow, this is the band," and they're smoking. They're not just kind of mailing it in and limping through the set. I mean, we haul ass through that whole set every time. That's no.
And what does the band have coming up? You guys got a few shows planned by the end of the year, or anything coming up?
Yeah, we have next week. We go out to Fresno, do a state fair headline, and then we have Sacramento the night after, which is Louder Than Life, which is up in who knows, we're in the hills somewhere. And I don't know where the location is, but it's with Metallica and plenty of, you can easily see online I actually haven't even looked at the lineup. I kind of like looking at it later and go, oh wow, Devo's there or somebody. Like the Chicago, we did Riot Fest and Devo was on. Like, so it was kind of neat to see that bumper to bumper body count for us, So you never know with that. And then we got Daytona again. That week also after Sacramento, we're doing some signing, and we're going to be at Comic-Con on Saturday.
Oh, great!
In New York City, which is new for us. It's the first time that I've ever done anything like that. That'll be quite nice. We got the comic book out, our comic book out. That'll be cool. And then Daytona in November, and from there on, I don't know until next year. We have something in October, like a European run and stuff, but that's next year of October. So we'll wait. We'll talk about that some other time. I'm excited to do it, but geez, it's so far away. It's right now. I mean, what could happen between January and
yeah, that's for sure.
Hopefully, like recording and then some shows too. It's not like we can't get up and go do some shows.
Yeah. Well, we've been spending some time here with Joey Belladonna, the voice of Anthrax, and also the voice of Beyond Frontiers. So check out the websites to see what's going on with Anthrax, and check some of your local listings to see if Beyond Frontiers pops up and gets to do a few shows. Joey, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for taking the time, and best of luck with the upcoming Anthrax shows with Beyond Frontiers, and hopefully we'll catch you on the road soon.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking time out with me also, and look forward to seeing you somewhere out on the road too.
You got it, my friend. Thanks.
Good luck with those guitars you got there.
Thank you very much.
Bye. Have a good day. Have a good weekend.
You too.